Greatness doesn't always shout. Greatness doesn't always just show up. Greatness sometimes takes its time. Let me tell you, Michael Jordan was cut from his basketball team. The great Michael Jordan, the best basketball player to ever play, could not make his high school team. So it's not always about how you begin. Take a look at the Springboks. In 2016, they were ranked outside of the top 10 in the world. They went to win it in 2019. I can also give you another example. Do you remember Leicester City? They were ranked 5,000 to 1 chance they could win the Premier League. Yet ding dong, that year they went on to win the Premier League. Serena Williams, at the beginning of their career, was ranked outside 150th because of how she started. So Anita, what are you saying? I'm just saying, it's just the first game. It's not always about how you start, because sometimes, like Michael Jordan, you could start not being picked and end up as the best in the world. So, with that being said, what do you make of the start of the first games of the Betway Premiership, Hlompho Kekana?
The excitement was there, and I was excited to see football back into our screens.
Mark, how important is the start? How important is that first game, Hask?
It's very important. I think ultimately you set the tone for the season. It's not defining. It doesn't mean, whether you've won or lost, you're going to either win the league or lose or be relegated. But you want to start on the right foot. And so I do believe it's important. My highlight was the supporters, though. I love the fact that we had. I love the fact that we had quite a few stadiums with packed crowds. And so I hope that continues for the length of the season.
Very, very, very quickly. A poet, a writer, a man of absolute greatness once said, give it to them already after the first match had played. Is there such a team that you can say, give it to them already after the first match?
Not really. After the matches, I think it's going to be a fight.
Mark, a great man, a poet once said that.
Definitely not. And that's what we want. Yeah. We want the league to be tight. We want the league to be close. And so after the first round of fixtures, top and bottom is going to be hair-raising, and that's what we want.
Mark Haskins, as well as Hlompho Kekana, are going to be joining us over the next hour. We'll be looking at absolutely everything. Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, drawing and losing their game. Amakosi getting all 3 points. And the newbies as well. We're going to go to Marumo Gallants. We're going to see what they brought for us out down in the Eastern Cape. But there were decisions as well, Taref. There were decisions, Tatani, Hlungwane, that you weren't happy with.
Yeah, Riperle Ma'a. We'll go to Orlando. Should Vusimusi Ngube have got a penalty or not for Sekhukhune? But we'll also tell you, the first player to receive a red card this season, we will tell you about it. Ngiyabuya, ungafambi thama la ka Soccer Zone. Ngiyabuya.
Well, Mazzola is going to be back with some of the big stories making headlines over the last couple of hours, of course. But firstly, here's the topic. I'd love to know from you. Is Abdusalam Wadu changing too much too soon at Orlando Pirates? Because I'm going to come back but for now, I'd love to hear from you. Is Coach Wadu changing a little too much? But South Africa is waiting for him. They want to know what's happened. Is Chiefs getting Velabayi? For that, I have to go to the Super Journal, the poet himself, Mazzola Molefe.
I can't give anyone the league just yet, but I can tell you what I'll bring to you at home is that Thapelo Maseko, at the moment, laying out his frustrations at Mamelodi Sundowns, that he's unhappy, he's losing the spark. This is a player that was signed from rival SuperSport United for big money to come improve his game at Mamelodi Sundowns. But he's been locked in at the moment. Several efforts to get him out of the club have been unsuccessful. There was a club in Cyprus, Aris, where Mayambela plays as well. He wasn't able to conclude that move, whether being bought out or with an option to go out on loan and to be bought out at the end of the season. I'd love to hear from skipper Hlompho Kekana whether he should be given a chance, be let go. The transfer window only closes the 22nd of September.
You see, Mazzola, when you see a player showing his frustration on the socials, that tells you that he doesn't want to be at that camp. And it would be wise if the two parties sit and discuss that and maybe come into an agreement to say, we shake hands, you go away, I'll go my way. Because if you see a player in that state of mind, I don't think he cannot play for you in the next season.
Skipper, is there something fundamentally wrong with the way Sundowns deals with players? Because you've got Sailor at the moment, you had Tebogo at some point last season. You know, we're hearing now, and Mazalo is going to clarify on what's happened with Shalulila. There's a Ribeiro that's not there. There's so much, you know, of Letlaku as well, who we've heard has put in an amount. What is wrong with the way Sundowns deals with these players?
I think it has to come from the player and the club, how they communicate in this thing. Because sometimes I can just hear a rumor about me wanted somewhere. I need to just go to the club and tell them this is what the offer says. And then let's make sense from that. I cannot just go out and be, you know, the team wants me from overseas and then I start saying I want to go. I need to understand that I still have a contract and there's still lots of investment on my services.
Well, that's a story we'll keep a close watch on sabcsport.com. I'll have an exclusive interview with his representatives about the way forward for Maseko. Let's move on now to another story that concerns Mamelodi Sundowns, a player that they're looking at, Ndimani, the left centre-back at TX Galaxy. The conversation at the moment is that Ndimani could be staying at TX Galaxy to continue his development. He's only 21 years old, only in his second season in the top flight, and therefore, unless Mamelodi Sundowns decide they desperately want a left-sided centre-back, then he will join the club before the transfer window closes, but we'll keep a close watch on that. Skipper did mention, Andile did mention that an issue around Peter Shalulilo. A lot of people were surprised to see the Namibian sniper on the bench, having spent a little bit of time at home in Namibia while his representatives continue to hold discussions with clubs in Qatar, clubs in the Gulf region, as well as Esperance de Tunis in North Africa about a possible move. As things stand, there isn't a transfer offer on the table, genuine transfer offer on the table for Peter Shalulile, who's still contracted to Mamelodi Sundowns to move on. I did catch up with Coach Miguel Cardoso in Gqeberha just about how he plans to shift and move things around with the transfer window closing in on Mamelodi Sundowns.
Look, I would like to have eventually put Peter or a second striker in the pitch. That's what I was expecting from having Arthur until the end, because Arthur could make that position, so I could eventually even keep the same changes outside, so that we would have that mobility that Kutluano and Mabena could bring, but have extra men in the front. But unfortunately, the fact that Arthur had to come out changed a little bit our options. But we have to manage the squad that we have. The players that we have to reinforce us from the bench on the outside spaces are the ones that I put it in, and it's my job to work with the players that I have in the squad, and I will do it the best I can to produce results out of them.
Now, arguably the biggest story of the day, Asanele Velabayi cleared to become a free agent, move on from Cape Town Spurs to move on to his next destination. That destination, Kaizer Chiefs. I'm told he will be arriving in Gauteng as of tomorrow to link up with Amakosi. But Spurs have hit back. They've said this is not the last you've heard of them with regards to this matter. Just before we went on air, Alexi Efstatio issuing a statement saying they're not giving up. This is essentially saying clubs cannot invest in the youth because they want some money for Velabayi, who is now leaving on a free, which they could have sold for 4 million a year ago. Mark Haskins, I wanted to ask you, does he bring value? Is he of the valuation that Chiefs initially thought he was, or Spurs thought he was? They call him the Diamond. He's now headed to Naturena.
Well, obviously, he's been a long-time target of Kaizer Chiefs, so they do see value in him. It's a tough one. Obviously, Cape Town Spurs rated him at, I think, at 10 million it was, and Chiefs were only willing to pay 4 million. But when you look at his stats, that's something we have to look at. I mean, if you look at over 50 games over the last 2 seasons, he's only scored 4 goals for an attacker. I don't know if that's a good enough return for someone playing in the PSL and then in the NFD. 3 goals only in the last season. In his first season in the PSL, only 1 goal. That's what Kaizer Chiefs are getting, and that's what they've been fighting for. Clearly, they see the value in him, and they see maybe how he fits into their structure. Again, I think it's about him coming up and showing what he's worth.
So not just Velabayi, who was waiting for his freedom. Liam Byrne Luke Baartman as well. We will wait to see what the ruling gives out with regards to that. Speaking of disputes and players not knowing what their future holds, TX Galaxy just told that of the 2 transfer bans, 1 has been lifted. Tim Sukazi has been able to make payment, and I can confirm that one of the FIFA bans has been lifted. But unfortunately for the Rockets, they have 2 transfer bans, and 1 still remains. We'll see if they'll be able to unlock it. They have a bit of a breather this weekend, and then they return for the Betway Premiership the weekend after. Let's see if they've lifted that. That's it from the news desk. Keep it locked on sabcsport.com for more breaking updates.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that from the Super Journal. Now let's move on to the MVP chosen by the best that put it together to see